That's what I was getting at. Because, like, at some point in my lifetime, I mean, I'm 40 years old. I potentially have another 50 years, right? Within the next 50 years, there is the possibility that I could, go to H-E-B and buy a mammoth steak?
I don't know if you want to eat a mammoth. Like, I've talked to some modern hunters who've eaten elephant, right? And they're an elephant.
I never even thought about that, but yeah, okay.
It is not like beef. It is not.
Fair enough.
It's not like, I mean, lots of people eat bush meat over there, but I've never heard anything good about elephant.
But
a dinosaur, dude, sign me up.
I just it's just because I want to.
I'd eat that. Like,
all it does taste like chicken.
Alligator.
Maybe that's like like you said, it's like genetic DNA. Like maybe that's just like a deep, like,
you don't kill
primordial. Yeah, seriously. Like, is that like what people pay money? People pay money to go on these like exotic game hunts. I got to meet oh my god, the rock and roll dude.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Texas,
Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent. Yeah.
I met Ted Nugent. Fantastic guy. I mean, really cool. My parents did his estate sale when he sold his house in Waco. And like, I actually met his wife, sweetest person I've ever met. I had just gotten married at the time. And his wife, I forget her name. Anyways, she was like, "Oh, you're the sweetest couple." And like, Ted Nugent gave me a bunch of furniture for my first house.
Whoa.
I had like
What?
my nightstand.
What did you do with it?
Oh God.
Ted Nugent gave it to you? And you had to be like,
I lost
God, I don't know what happened.
I lost it in the divorce.
Oh, okay.
Right? So like, I had his nightstands and his like dining room chairs because his wife was the sweetest person. She's like, "Oh, you're just married? Oh, well, like here, you should have some stuff." But he had like rhino heads and like all this other like super cool stuff.
Mammoth heads in the future. Yeah.
And that's what I was getting at. Like he paid, if I remember correctly, it was like $70,000 to go shoot this white rhino, which is used for conservation. People always freak out when like, you're killing it. They use that. People pay money, and that money actually helps maintain the species. Because I'm sure the one he shot was probably pretty old, and at the end of its life,
it was a problem, or it was a brother of another herd bull, and they didn't want that.
I think it's primordial. Like I would pay money to like you said, give me a spear and let me go track down some mammoth on a horseback.
Dude, if I see you running around in a loincloth, I'm not hanging out with you.
I'm just saying like that, but that's a possibility in my lifetime. And because I've been to the Texas Through Time several times.
Right.
We used to do our bourbon meetings before we actually had like a legitimate place to meet. We met there. And I'm telling you, that is the coolest way to see a museum, was just like walking around with a drink in your hand. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that was like.
So I gotta say, like, you probably don't remember, but I went to your museum a few times, and like the last time I went there, it's been like a year or two, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm a science teacher," and you gave me like the grand tour of everything. It's like I've never been to a museum where they took me into the lab and showed me all the cool stuff.
I don't want to make you feel unspecial. He does that to everybody.
Oh, really?
I'm saying it's literally. That's what I'm saying. Like he is like that person to everybody. I took my kids in to see Texas Through Time one time, and he did the same thing. He's like, "Hey, you guys want to come back and see this?" And I was like, "Oh, you don't have to," because I thought you were just being nice.
Yeah.
And he like took him back in, and like, Ethan, the guy that used to work, does he still work there?
No.
Oh, Ethan that was working there was like working on some bones with a little like Dremel tool, and you were like, "Oh, here, look, like here, see this? Like this is the bone," and like picked it out of the thing, and of course my kids' eyes went like this, be like, "Holy crap, it's a real dinosaur bone!" And you pick something out of the showcase and like let them touch it, and my kids are like, "We're not allowed to touch stuff at a museum." It was like the coolest experience, and I was like, that is why your museum is so cool to me.
So
it's beyond just there's a thing, read the plaque, because my kids go up to the Poirot all the time.
Yeah,
we have my mom has the Poirot Museum in
Poirot. Oh, okay, yeah,
and they have a really cool exhibit. It's a neat exhibit, but it's a museum. Right. Okay, they have a little interactive.
It's the velvet rope.
Yeah,
I think
which is neat, but actually making it come to life by like, here, look at this.
Yeah,
That is what makes it.
My kids need a velvet rope, but I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, so my philosophy is, going back to my first paleo business, which there were several iterations, being that, doing that like presentation at libraries was
Because you came from a background of education.
I want to open people's minds. I want them to get into it. I want them to ask questions. And, like every man has this dilemma. I guess you're like 17, 18 years old. You're like, how am I going to change the world?
Yeah.
Right.
How am I going to leave my mark?
I realized that I can't change the world, but I can't change the whole world, but I can change the whole world for a handful of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So when I give you and your kids that tour of Texas Through Time, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
When I give you the tour of the lab, maybe that's it. But I mean, I think a validation of everything that we're doing at Texas Through Time will be when one day somebody comes back and says, Mr. Lujan, I just finished my graduate, I just got my PhD, just defended, my thesis and got my doctorate, and I'm a paleontologist. And
That's
thank you
so
so much
cool,
for giving me
man.
an opportunity and believing in me.
And you haven't had that yet.
No, well, I mean,
I
it's
can't wait
it's
to
still pretty
hear-
young,
But I can't
There's
wait
some
for that.
undergrads.
And
Because, like you said, that's going to be the measure of your success.
And I cloned some velociraptors, and there's been an incident, and I need some help.
Yeah. Like, listen, I'm stocked up. We got tens of thousands of rounds. We got some thermal scopes we can do.
They're cold blooded. It won't help.
Are they?
We don't know. Were they exothermic? Were they endothermic?
Well, and if we recreate them, what are we going to use? We
Was
can
there a
fill the
mix?
gap. Like,
Because we know now that there's a lot of things that we thought were cold blooded
right.
are really there's a mix.
Let me ask you this, since
Yes.
you brought this up. So we have the mummies. Was the duckbill? I totally forgot the
Hadrosaur.
Hadrosaur.
Ducky
Did it
from
exhibit any feathers, or was it mostly? I can't remember the other type of dinosaur I'm trying to think of, but it was an armored dinosaur.
Ankylosaur.
Yes, and there were no feathers on the mummy.
No.
So my question is, because we often say dinosaurs had maybe possibly feathers.
How do we know the difference? I don't.
Well-
Just so I understand this, like
what?
How do you find out if it has dinosaurs or not, or dinosaurs, not, feathers or not? Like,
Well, that's kind of where I'm going. Like we have evidence that some of them have feathers,
Right.
And we're more closely related to the birds, but we also have these mummies where there's no feathers whatsoever. So
Right. So to answer that question, how do we know dinosaurs have feathers? We have to have evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so with
how do you have evidence when there's no feathers?
With these hadrosaurs, we have these wonderful skin impressions. And 20 years ago, dinosaur skin was like nobody had ever seen it,
Mm-hmm.
really. I mean, it wasn't common. Now, dinosaur skin is very common.
Okay,
and-
wait, but how is it common now, but it wasn't 100 years ago when we were looking
Collecting
for 'em?
bias. We didn't know what to look for. We didn't know that
Like
it was
the impressions in the
possible
dirt?
For it
Oh,
to
I see. what you-
preserve.
Like you said, they weren't looking for the tissue in the
Correct.
femur,
Yeah,
so
it's-
nobody thought to look for it. So they just kind of scooped it out of the way and said, "Okay, here's the
Absolutely.
bone."
So you find a bunch of bones, and you're like, okay, let's jacket it up, take it to the lab.
Dude, that's so
blast that
crazy.
dirt away. But now,
Imagine how much data has been lost just
Oh.
from that.
unimaginable amounts.
there's
Oh my gosh.
talk about archaeology now. It's very popular, and I feel stupid for not remembering. But there is an ancient city that was destroyed by a volcano.
Pompeii.
Pompeii. It's like, why can't I think of that?
I love that I
hold on,
finally
hold on.
got one before you did.
But for a long
High
for a long time, they're like Pompeii's a legend. It's not real. And then like, oh, okay, maybe it was real
How is it a legend? It's not real. We have
because
the
there was no
city,
evidence of it.
but we
At the
fa-
time-
Oh,
At the time, there was no
before
evidence
they
of it.
found the city.
But when they were
Gotcha.
excavating it, they kept coming across these voids. They're like, what's this? And then someone had the idea, "Hey, let's put some plaster in there and see what the shape is. And then they realized, oh, these were people. So whenever you see the people
shit.
from Pompeii, it's because they're putting plaster in those voids when they come across them, and that's filling out. Is like, oh, there's a
shape
person
of the
there.
human being.
And so the thing is, first of all, there was a bias because there's no Pompeii, but then they don't know what they're looking for, so they're coming across these voids.
Oh
and they're
my
like,
God.
what is it, like gas bubble or what? And so, like, to his point, that's just another example from another, maybe something that you
No,
can
thank
connect
you.
with.
No,
yeah.
I can.
And that's very
Absolutely.
recent, right? We should know better.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, I approach paleontology from the perspective of I don't know anything. Therefore,
That's got to be hard to do though, because you're so educated in it.
I'm going to look for everything.
When you start in science, when you start thinking, you know, and this is my background's more physics, right? But when you start thinking you know everything there is to something,
you're not looking at the whole picture.
You're
looking at the forest for the trees, not for the forest.
Yeah, you don't.
I got you.
And will humans ever know? I don't know, man. Like, once you think you have it figured out, nature throws like a curveball at you.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Is it like a conscious thought when you come across something that you have to be like, whoa, I'm going to take a step back from this
every time?
I want to applaud you on that, because like, to be educated in something and to then have the maturity to be able to look at that and say, I know nothing. That's really impressive.
Well, he's not an archaeologist.
No.
I was going to say,
if I was an archaeologist, no offense to the archaeologists out there,
I don't think any archaeologists follow this.
We got it figured out. Yeah. We're good.
But as a paleontologist, and so like coming up in the time that I did and learning everything and building my business and, you know, entering the field at the time that I did was really kind of like a renaissance of paleontology. It was like, whoa, we missed all this stuff. There's mummies, there's soft tissue, there's skin, there's feathers.
So you came up in a generation that already was questioning it.
Correct, where everything was being turned on.
So it was more like, okay, acceptable.
Yeah. But,
okay, that makes sense.
The prior several decades, it'd have been like, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time looking for that when it
makes so much sense.
So now, like when we find a site, I found a site in West Texas. It's this microsite in the Aguja Formation, which is it's like 78 million years ago.
Okay.
So this is
pre-T-Rex.
Pre-T-Rex. Gotcha. And it was loaded with microfossils like mammal teeth and croc teeth and raptor claws and all this sort of stuff. So as we're digging this layer, we're collecting every ounce of dirt and bagging it up and saving it. And so I literally have a storage unit here in Hillsborough with like 4,000 pounds of dirt. because
I'm never going to hear crap from my wife again about the old vinyl collection in storage. Like, at least it's not
vinyl in storage.
At least it's not 4,000 pounds of dirt.
So in a past life,
I
was
love
a
this.
DJ.
Yeah,
I was a DJ. So
I lost most of my vinyl to a unfortunate flooding incident of what the ex-wife didn't throw away. Mother Nature.
I didn't know flooding would destroy vinyl like that.
But
I want to hear about. I want to hear about his. I want to hear that. I want to hear your story though. But I didn't know vinyl.
17. Look, I'm going to go through this real quick, so maybe people miss it. But 17 years old, my first job. When I went to spring break, my junior year of high school was
Whoa! You skipped a part. How did you get there? That was
I hitchhiked.
You hitchhiked after your car broke down.
Yes.
You were like, screw this.
Yeah.
I'm getting in the car, and you headed for the coast.
Yeah, absolutely.
You knew where the girls were, man.
No. I was going. It was junior year of high school. I was going to spring break. I had my turntables and my records and this giant duffel bag, and the car broke down. We're still like about 100 miles away, and I'm just
from like Corpus Christi, like
South Padre.
South Padre.
So
okay, all right.
I'm out on the highway hitchhiking, and
at 17,
it got picked up.
With a turntable?
Yeah, 2 turntables
and a microphone.
Had a mixer, had my records, and some speakers. And anyways, we made it to Padre and spent a couple of days just chilling on the beach and going and knocking on doors. And I was like, hey, can I
I need a job.
Records? And I got hired at this gentleman's club.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's like wood paneling and cigars, right?
No, there's no wood paneling.
Gentleman's club.
It was called Babes by the Bay. So 17 years old, I've got a job, house DJ, Babes by the Bay, and
that's like the ideal job for a 17-year-old.
I was going to say that. I was like,
well, that'll be another podcast. We can talk about that.
Is the statute of limitations up on a 17-year-old working there? Like,
I got paid really good.
That's awesome,
I got
man.
paid really good, but
and the scenery was fantastic.
Yeah.
But
the coast.
Yeah.
Back to collecting fossils and just having that observation. It's so many researchers. I've donated this material to the British Museum, to the American Museum of Natural History, the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, and they're like, this is one of the most important microsites
What's a
North
microsite?
America. So these are microfauna. These are things that are like, usually the technical definition of a microfossil is sub-millimeter.
Oh, okay. All
Right. But some
A
of these
piece of a bone.
So by
are
microsite,
these are complete fossils.
you don't mean it's a small site. You mean the data you're collecting is the evidence you're
All of
collecting.
the
Hold on one
fossils-
second. There's a buzz. Just tap the bottom of your.
Mine?
Perfect. We're good. Sorry.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I don't know why, one of these microphones randomly has a buzz, and I wanted to kill that.
I'll cut it if I have to.
Yeah. So the fossils are microfossils. So they're not
1
macro.
millimeter or smaller. Whoa.
Well, that's the
there's a macro?
technical. Yeah, there's macro is like, oh, I found a T-Rex tooth that's 4 inches long. I found a limb bone. I found a femur. I found a skull. I found, But when you think of a microsite, you think of like play sand full of tiny fossils.
So what is significant about the micro fossils that you're finding?
So to Israel's comment earlier about like, well, what were the environments super complex? Absolutely. So we had frogs and salamanders and lizards
Which would be super small,
all of
ergo
these things.
teeny tiny
little,
fossils.
Little mammals. We had birds. We had all these things. And so back to sedimentary rock, which is deposited by water.
Right.
Water sorts things by size. If you've ever been in a river and you
It's like
see,
searching for gold. You use a little sift and the smaller things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, heavy
so
things.
If this is in a channel system, right? Nature already did the sorting.
Wow, that's cool
So
to think
all
of.
the large stuff is deposited in a specific area of the flow.
Right.
And this is just
Downstream, probably,
the
as it
fluvial
pushes it.
processes of geomorphology, right?
Whoa, that's deep.
Yeah, fluvial process.
He did it so
Fluvial?
naturally.
I like that. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna sound smarter. It's a good good clip for us. Fluvial properties of
Fluvial processes
excuse me. Fluvial processes
of geomorphology.
of geomorphology. I'm gonna add that to my resume.
Yeah,
someday.
you should.
I've
So,
studied
if
the
you go- if
fluvial
you go-
process.
This is how long you studied it. Just
You go to the process, you go anywhere. Look at a point bar. Where are the big rocks?
At the bottom.
In the front of the bar.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And they
yeah.
create turbulence and they slow the water down.
Right.
And all of the finer sediment trails off. And so nature already sorts everything.
It's like how you're looking for gold when you're
Yeah,
pandering. It's
exactly.
the same thing.
Exactly.
Wow. I never thought about that for
Except
fossils.
With gold, that is an element that has, a lot of weight.
So it sinks.
So it sinks.
Right.
But for these things, it may not be specifically weight designated as much as
Size. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these microsites are these concentrations of these small fossils that fall out.
I guess I'd never thought of you're talking like looking through like a microscope.
I mean, I look at like when I'm doing microfossils in the lab and I've got my my surgical microscope, I'm sometimes looking at complete fossils that are 0.2 millimeters. So
Oh my
So
God.
on the end of your finger, it looks like a speck.
A grain of sand.
Yeah, under a microscope, it's a complete tooth.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
so no wonder you kept all that dirt.
So essentially, when I'm at the beach and I see the sand washing on the the beach, that's potentially fossils. I mean, especially because it's coming from what is now a water base. Well, but it might
there's-
not have been a water basin then.
There's a lot of parts of animals in that.
That is all sand from the ocean is a combination of like silt deposited by rivers, like so
Right.
everything that's
It
eroded from
washes down.
mountains and everything
Sure.
else that washes out to sea, and all of the ancient coral reefs going back to 350 million years ago that are just ground up, eroded, and
Well, because also like as those I think of a rock tumbler, as you put if you put a fossil in a rock tumbler and tumble it, eventually it just becomes a ball, right? So what you're looking for is obviously they're going to have the edges rounded off and stuff, but you know what to look for from that.
right.
But like to be able to sort through something at that level, I mean, you said you have 4,000 pounds of dirt.
From one site.
How
I
long does
bought
it?
84,000 pounds of dirt from a quarry in Oklahoma.
I am never hearing crap from my wife again about my brewing equipment.
So I
84,000 pounds.
screened
So
84,000.
40 tons of dirt.
Yeah. I washed it all through a 0.5 millimeter screen. So I took it all the way down. I washed all the clay and silt out of it, and everything bigger than a 0.5 millimeter.
You discarded the small stuff.
Yeah, all
and
the silt.
kept the what would potentially be a fossil. Mm-hmm. And what did you find?
Oh man, I found skulls. I found skeletons. I found all sorts of things.
Skulls.
Yeah.
Less than half.
You're talking of
Probably
like
2 dozen skulls.
small.
Reptiles, Permian animals.
So
How old?
let me
280.
Let me ask you
Oh
about
my
this then. So are we talking about like adolescents? Like these were not full grown, or this is the full grown creature?
So actually, all stages.
Wow.
So this is the site that I'm talking about that I bought 84,000 pounds of dirt from. It was a quarry up in Oklahoma, and it's a Permian cave system, karst system. So this is
a what system?
karst or caves. So karst are like when a cave collapses, and then you've got these openings to the surface.
Like when a road collapses into like a
Sinkhole.
sinkhole. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. So
Because they didn't know it was there.
during the Permian, this is a much older limestone. It's Ordovician.
Okay.
And this cave system was formed through it. And then during the Permian, life started to take hold in this cave. And so there's parareptiles and reptiles and amphibians and all these little animals. And they lived and died in this cave system and just stacked up over millions of years.
Right.
So the cave is just full of vertebrate fossils.
That's amazing.
And so the mine is an aggregate mine, and they're blasting this mountain away for road base and concrete aggregate. And when they hit these pockets of clay in these cave chambers that are full of bones,
contains life.
yeah, they can't put that through the crusher because it'll ruin the crusher. So they take this clay and they push it over the side of a hill.
And you say, I'll buy that and store it in my storage building.
Absolutely. So I bought 84,000.
I never thought of somebody buying dirt for anything other than like a vegetable garden.
No, man. No.
Okay, it's a dumb question. Is it like expensive to buy that dirt, or is it like
It was pretty expensive.
okay? I was gonna say,
I
like,
trucked it from Oklahoma.
do they know what it
tail
is?
dumpers. They know that there's fossils. In
Okay,
it.
that's what I meant. Like,
But
or they're
also
like,
like,
oh,
this
you're
is-
just getting rid of it
This is waste. Like,
yeah, I was
you're
gonna say, do they care?
They're
as
like,
much?
okay,
because they don't understand all of the
it's
like
they're not
cost
charging
of
me aggregate price per ton
right
because it's just
waste.
dirt. So they just give me like a like
Trying
whatever.
to picture
So-
trucking dirt. So I drove trucks,
Yeah.
and I'm just picturing the like cost per mile
Well, it's
of what
$5,000 in trucking.
for. I mean, essentially,
84,000
I was gonna
pounds
say
of dirt.
for all 84. That's not bad.
No, it
did
wasn't
you-
bad.
I was gonna say that's actually pretty cheap because I'm thinking like
But I had to pay for the dirt too.
So did you discover any species of these?
One of the things we found was the best known skull in existence for a certain amphibian. In this
Cool.
in this 84,000 pounds of
which,
trash.
as my 11-year-old has told me, correct me if I'm wrong. So when you find something that is the best known and or the most complete, this is what my 11-year-old told me. He goes, Dad, the really cool thing about finding a complete fossil or the most complete fossil is that now you don't just take the prize of being like, oh, mine's the most complete. Yours is worth a ton, and the second best basically plummets in value.
Correct.
Because like they're like, oh, well, that's old news now because you're missing something.
So
Having the 84 tons of dirt to find this little skull.
It's actually pretty big. It's like 9 inches long.
oh wow,
wow.
So what's crazy though, in this
I'm
cave
still thinking of
system-
microfossils when you're talking
yeah,
about like
no,
teeny
there,
tiny
there are
things
there are like skulls the size of my pinky nail, completely
that are
articulate.
millions of years old.
Yeah, with the lower jaws articulated, like it's just a
Wow.
complete little skull.
Oh my!
that's awesome.
Yeah, come to the museum, man.
I have to
Well,
check
that's
it
what I
out.
was asking.
Some
What
more.
are the hours of the new museum? So, for those that have been listening this whole time, Andre owns technically 2 museums, right? You have the Texas Through Time Museum, or are they both the same name?
It's the same.
It's the same name. So you have the Texas Through Time Museum, what I call the OG Museum, which is in this fantastic old Grimes garage
Yes.
in Hillsboro, Texas.
Which is also historic.
Drive through South Waco Street or North Waco Street, and you'll see a bunch of dinosaur sculptures outside. And you're going to be like, what is this place? And it's It's dope. I mean, it's really very
awesome.
cool.
It
And
is.
he has the laboratory at the back where they do a bunch of the sciencey side of paleontology. But then here recently, this is a very old story of Hillsboro, our old high school, or was it the junior high?
It was originally Hill College.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not. And then it was the high school
And
after
then
that?
it was a high school and the college,
wow.
and then it was a high school, and then it was a junior high school.
Kind of went back and forth. Okay. And and this is also during the time of segregation, which is why they stopped using it altogether.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I heard.
1923.
1923, the college that was the high school, then the junior high, then back to the high school, then back to the junior high.
No, it didn't switch. They had the high school, the college on top, and the high school was like the first two floors.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was all at once.
Could you imagine college people hanging out with high schoolers?
That's
today?
a bad idea. That's yeah. And so the city was like, "Oh, we don't know what we're going to do with this building." And Andre came through and was like, "Hey, I mean, you can do what you want, or I could do something amazing."
I'm really excited to see what you do with that building.
Yeah. So a big thank you to
It's a huge building.
HISD for donating the building to our nonprofit, which is a 501c3. And so we're a nonprofit charity, and they did donate the building to us, and we're currently renovating and fundraising to make that happen. And so the transition will, be dictated on our ability to open, that building the way we can. But our location at 110 North Waco Street is open regular hours, Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 4.
And it is a free
Yes.
museum. I like to put that out there because I have 4 kids, and trying to take a family of 6 to go do anything is expensive. So spend the gas, come down from the Metroplex or up from Austin. Not only will you get a fantastic experience, plus downtown Hillsboro's got some fun stuff to do.
Yeah.
It's a neat place, but it's as Justin was saying, it's a fantastic museum.
Yeah.
Okay, if he's not there and doesn't take you through the laboratory, don't think you're not cool. But like if he's there, you're talking about a curator of a museum that will walk you through their exhibits and be like, "Hey, you want to see something cool? Hey, look at this. Let me tell you the history about this." It's unlike anything I've done, and I've been to the Louvre, I've been through London, I've been through Germany. I've gone to some fantastic natural history museums in the world. And I really felt like I connected more with the natural history side at your museum than I have it anywhere else, only because it's also a personable experience.
Yeah.
That I feel like you put the effort in to make it come alive.
I was going to say, like, I've been to a lot of museums. Most of them are paid, right?
Right.
He condenses so much cool stuff into, it's not a huge building.
No,
He
it's not.
condenses so much cool stuff into that building for free
Yeah.
that I get way more value out of that.
Which is
than
how
going
you
to-
know that he really wants to inspire people.
Yeah.
Because it's not about it. I mean, obviously it's a business, charity or
Well-
not, you have to make money at it, and it's a fantastic business.
So yes, the charity does need revenue to
Right.
operate. So we have our overhead and operating costs, but me as director, founding director, my wife and I founded the museum in 2018. Neither one of us have salaries. We don't get any kind of financial compensation. We've got a couple of young local kids that
have been fantastic from what I've interacted with
that
them.
work as museum ambassadors, run the gift shop and that sort of thing. But the museum is not about like, oh, let's start this nonprofit and have this board that's really well paid and have these executive salaries. I would say easily 90%, 80% for sure of every dollar goes back into ensuring that the public that comes in for free Tuesday through Saturday gets the best experience possible at a natural history museum that they've ever had.
And I agree.
Yeah.
I really
It
do.
is awesome. It is.
I mean, it's because at one point there was, I forget which skeleton it was, that you had the most complete skeleton in the United States.
yeah.
Right?
What,
Yeah.
what was it?
Well, we were working on a skull from the Denver Museum,
Right.
which was a ceratopsian skull. And they had sent it to our lab to be prepared. And it's the second horned dinosaur ever found in the Denver Formation, the Denver Basin. And so incredibly important. But you're probably speaking about one of the Permian skeletons that we had, that we prepared. We had an Edaphosaurus, which was one of the most complete. And we prepared that fossil and now is at a museum in Denmark.
that is the cool. I mean, I tell people all the time when they're like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Hillsborough." And they're like, "Where the hell is that?" Right? Fair enough. That is a really cool story to know that in the scope of world history, I mean, someone many, many years from now will go to a museum in Denmark, see a skeleton, and there'll be a little plaque that says, "This is the most complete representation of this dinosaur in the world," to know that it came from my little backyard hometown.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Well, you know what's even cooler than that is Texas Through Time. We're currently housed in our OG location, right? In the Grimes Garage, which was the first full service station in the nation.
Yeah.
So imagine,
that's cool.
Imagine Buc-ee's of the 19 teens. I mean, that's like that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Elvis Presley, a lot of people came through there. So the building has its own history, but we're like 4,500 square feet. But the museum, as we're calling it, the old
like
high
that
school,
museum.
the museum,
I like that.
is 40,000 square feet, which makes us the biggest new museum project in the United States.
Nice.
So
Are you serious?
Yeah.
It's kind of exciting.
We're bigger.
That's exciting, but sad at the same time.
Well, hold on. Like, okay, I was talking about the Poirot Museum, and I think of that as being a very large museum. So you're trying to say, like, you're talking about new construction?
New, yeah.
New museum.
Because no one's building anything new. And I'm sure something like that, they're also paying.
You would think they'd be building huge museums all over the place, but apparently they're not.
I mean, so think about it like this, right? So the Poirot Museum is great. They got their modern architecture building. It's, the Hall of Ancient Life is really cool. But is it a
I'm a museum snob. I'm sorry.
Museum of Texas paleontology?
No, it's not. No, it's world history put together in a condensed form to keep kids happy with some iPads and stuff.
Science theme park.
It is exactly that. The most busy attraction there is that stupid little earthquake.
Yeah.
There's a stupid little earthquake thing where you stand there and it shakes you, and I'm like, didn't my grandmother have one of these in her garage? Like sits there with a strap. Yeah, exactly.
It's a Texas earthquake experience. Not a real.
Seriously.
But no, it is.
And this is 40,000 square feet dedicated to only
Texas
paleontology.
Yeah.
I mean, that in and of itself is pretty cool. And like you said, it's the biggest museum being built anywhere. Yeah. What's the biggest paleontology dedicated to Texas? This might be the biggest ever. I mean,
yes, absolutely, yes.
That's pretty cool.
So the University of Texas at Austin is they have their Museum of Natural History and Science. I'm not sure. They just rebranded. It used to be called the Texas Memorial Museum.
It's whoever's giving the most money to it currently.
It's on the UT campus. That is the state repository for fossils. They probably have the finest collection of Texas fossils in existence.
For now.
Nice. Yeah, for now.
On planet Earth. But we have more square footage than they do for exhibits.
What really excites me.
Congratulations, sir.
Yeah.
Well,
that's really, so cool.
I've been in the building. Not a lot of people have, but
I haven't ever been in there.
I did like a leadership program, so I went into building.
So you did the live fire
simulation?
Yeah. That's how I got introduced.
This building is like, if you play Fallout, it's like
it's a time capsule.
Something you came across from like Fallout. Like it's just crap everywhere, like old textbooks and stuff.
No joke.
So
well, I'm sure a lot of that's probably been cleaned up, but
we're still working on it.
And so seeing the end result is really exciting, because this was like, it was dark and there was crap everywhere, and you don't step there, you might fall through the floor, kind of thing. So.
I saw, it was many moons ago, as I like to say, I saw that you had like a garage sale because you were like selling off all the old stuff, and my dad and my brother were like, "Oh my god, we need to go buy these old floor buffers or whatever it was," and I'm like, "Absolutely not! I want nothing to do with this." But I did hear that you're doing something fun that I'm a little bit insulted, Andre. I have to tell you, because I'll show his face here. I'm a little bit insulted because, and Justin, you'll love this too. I heard that you have been having rollerblading activities up on a certain floor, man. And I have not been invited to partake.
I was going to think you had a ghost hunt or something, but that's cool too.
But okay, let me get to that. Number one,
it's not haunted.
No, it is haunted.
Oh, of course
it is. For sure. Carrie sent me an article. She was like, when we first got the building, all the windows are boarded up.
Right. I remember that, because that's why I thought it was a derelict building.
I'm a grown man. I've been through a lot of bad stuff, near-death experience. I got robbed at gunpoint. Like, I've been
Gotcha.
I've been there. when I would go down into what is essentially the basement, the first floor, to go turn off the main breaker, I always just got like a really spooky feeling.
Yeah.
Like not a danger feeling, but like a presence feeling.
Okay.
And it was weird because I was like, oh, come on, man, you're too old for this.
Was it just in the basement?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
I was gonna say that's what would trip me out, because if it was the whole
consistent.
building,
it was always like, okay, the building is pitch black.
Right.
You got your little cell phone flashlight. All you can see is this little orb around you, and making my way down the stairs through the basement, past the cafeteria to the breaker, and always just like, I mean, my hair's standing up right now. Like,
let's see.
It's
Oh, no joke.
it's.
See,
Dude,
you know what's really weird? I get to sound
It's
smart
when
here.
they give us a tour, we did not go into the basement.
Yeah, it's
Really?
So then not years later, about 6 months later, Carrie's like, you know what? I found this article. This kid was killed in the cafeteria.
No, no,
And I was
no,
like, you know what?
no.
It's not a scary presence or feeling, but it is a presence.
It's a presence.
It's a presence. So I'm like, okay, look,
I
we
love
got
that
you,
he
man.
knows the podcast he's on right there. He's like, hey guys, I don't know shit about Bigfoot, but
Let me tell you about this ghost in my museum.
Yeah, tell us about it.
But no, back to the roller skating. Yes,
Yes.
there's an auditorium on the third floor, original wood floors, and our homeschool co-op and our little group.
Yep.
When the weather's bad, yeah, dude, we have roller skating parties. We do karaoke.
I expect an invite at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Do karaoke.
I don't do karaoke.
Give enough.
Hold on, whoa.
Give him
Hold on,
enough
hold on.
vodka,
Will
he
you
will
do
karaoke.
karaoke?
Enough of this. My wife actually loves karaoke, but she's always, okay, let me rephrase this. She loves to sing karaoke, but she grew up where she had a karaoke machine at home. So then when we were dating, we got married, and she's like, I love karaoke. I went out on a date one time, and I took her to meet some friends. I didn't tell her it was at a karaoke bar. I despise karaoke. Not like for other people. Like, I love partaking.
Can I just get up and leave?
Hold on. Like, it's not that I'm embarrassed. It's not that I'm embarrassed by it. Like, you know me, I'm a social butterfly,
Yes.
man. Like, put me up at a tutu dancing on the stage. I love to be entertainment. I'm just not a good singer. So it's not enjoyable, right?
Okay, let me
My
stop you
wife
right
is
there.
actually a good singer.
Karaoke is for you.
It's
Karaoke is for you. It is not for
Karaoke
when
is
you-
life.
When you do karaoke for you and you enjoy it, everyone else enjoys it.
maybe that's the problem. I don't enjoy it because I don't think I sound good.
No. But do you enjoy it singing and just like getting it out?
I enjoy singing in the shower. Does that count?
And you're one step away from karaoke.
Okay. I just need a microphone in the shower. That's kind of like you starting your podcast with an iPhone in the bathroom.
Yeah. I was never in the bathroom. I know where this bathroom thing came from.
Is it
I don't know where this whole bathroom thing came from.
It has been a running joke since we started this podcast, like 8 months ago
Class
or whatever,
or-
that he was like, yeah, I started my my podcast with my iPhone. Somehow in my brain, I got it as iPhone in the bathroom. I was like, yeah, when you on an episode, I was like, yeah, you started your podcast in the bathroom. He's like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? No, but yes.
I think the big
sort of
takeaway
thing.
is we need to do a ghost hunt
Let's go.
in your basement.
Let's
I'm
go.
not going to
I've
lie.
been reaching out to ghost hunters to do this.
No,
There is not a lot of
they're
things.
amateurs. Let's go. Let's do it.
There is not a lot of things in the world that I take like
Do it.
super.
Do it.
No, okay. Honestly, I think it'd be a great show because you'd see white boy Israel screaming, running through the halls
With skates on.
with
With skates on.
Skating away.
That's how we
help
spice
me,
it up.
help me.
Run down the stairs with roller skates.
although I could get us a thermal camera,
Yes.
like a little tick, thermal
Yes.
imaging camera.
You know what's cooler than a dinosaur
Podcast
museum?
from
A
the museum.
haunted dinosaur museum.
Only if it's haunted by dinosaurs.
Well, but they don't have to know what it's
We
haunted
don't
by.
know that they didn't have spirits.
It's true.
You heard it
We
here
just said we don't know
first,
anything
folks.
about them.
I'm just saying, like, we know now that plants communicate, they have feelings.
This
They
is true.
remember,
I saw that
so
thing about
vegetarians are murderers.
they like blared classical music, or then they
Bastards.
like blared like heavy metal, and like the classical music plants performed better. That's like a legitimate.
Do you know what the
study.
largest organism on Earth is?
trees?
It's a fungus.
Mushroom.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you see the Now I get to have my sci-fi moment here. Okay, did you see did you ever play the Last of Us video game?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Last video game I played was what's that game like?
Super Mario Brothers.
No.
Atari.
Like where you're just doing crime
Oh, Grand Theft Auto.
in Miami.
Yeah, Grand Theft
Vice
Auto
City,
Miami.
Betty.
Vice City, yeah.
Vice City.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the last.
Wow.
Video. Okay.
I remember when that came out.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Okay.
It looked awesome at the time. Now it's like, what is this?
The radio stations were popping.
Yes, they were.
I do remember the radio stations.
all five songs they fit on the PlayStation.
Now I don't remember what I was
I'm
doing.
so
No,
sorry.
you're good. No, I'm in my mind. I'm trying to steal the 747 and go on like the secret mission.
Yeah.
From like Vice City right now. Well,
Yeah.
Vice City was way better.
Dude, it was.
That was a very good game.
No, man. The last one was the best, I think.
Last of Us. Okay, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
I have it now. It's returned to me. Did you watch the TV show? Okay. This is a very hard segment. You have now like shot to death my idea here of the video game and the TV series. There's the fungus, the zombie fungus
Yeah.
that like takes possession of things. Okay. I saw a TikTok video the other day of somebody out in the desert, whatever, and they came across a tarantula.
Yeah, that's
that
an
had-
actual thing.
Yeah,
that had been in.
cordyceps.
Yep.
What is it? Hold on. what?
Cordyceps.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
it
it
takes
was
control of your mind.
so it was a tarantula that like as they zoomed in with the camera like had no body, like it had been like dissolved, and it was just that's yeah.
And they get really close and breathe in the spores and hope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Like I saw an X Files of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
I
actually
mean, it's cool. No, it's seriously like evolution is a man. Like you get that close to
that's
it.
the clip right there.
you get a million people that close to the cordyceps. Eventually,
Somebody's going to be susceptible.
yeah, and then we're all.
Are you ever like worried about that being like
No.
out in the desert?
You know what? But
Because that's where it's really at, like right, like out in remote areas.
No,
Oh.
it's right here. It's everywhere.
Don't tell me that.
It's moths in your.
I'm already
tree.
scary enough to go outside.
It's everywhere, man.
Breathing air on planet Earth is fatal.
It's true.
I have to hold my breath.
Oxygen is
wherever
very
I go.
toxic.
No, I mean our atmosphere, like everything that we put out there, it's just very toxic. But back to your evolution comment.
Which
So-
one?
We have gone full circle.
No, like
Which comedy are you
no,
talking
you're
about?
talking about like you're gonna put 100 versions. Like you're gonna start a T-shirt company, right? You're gonna put 100 designs out there and see what works.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting about the fossil record is the evidence is to the contrary.